Hello everyone, it's great to be with you. What we're going to talk about is what I regard as South Africa's shale gas myth. Today my focus is on the claims of big oil and gas and the damage that they're doing to this planet's chances of survival. These are the claims that make the leaders of the world grasp desperately for what oil and gas are selling. So 4 pillars of what I call the shale gas offensive, because I do regard the propagation of shale gas on a global scale as an offensive technology. Energy, jobs, money, and reduced CO2 emissions. Those are basically the 4 things that catch the eyes and ears of any government leader who is desperate to satisfy a hungry populace, an unemployed populace, a populace that is sitting without energy. We have a notion in this country and around the world that growth, economic growth, will fix the problems of the world. And that for me personally, not being an educated person but simple common sense person, flies in the face of the fact that we are living on a finite planet. And sooner or later, all of this wonderful growth that is projected, all of these upward curves, this blue sky projection that is going to pull the poor countries of the world up to first world and keep the first world countries where they are, has got to run out of resources. Then the second concept or notion is, we all agree that if we're on the growth path, growth needs energy. Growth is impossible without energy. At the moment, what we're being told is energy comes from fossil fuels. Ergo, we need shale gas. Sustainability requires that substances introduced into the environment from human activities be minimized and rendered harmless to biosphere functions. Our economy is based on an energy source that is steadily creating an energy deficit, steadily heating the planet and impacting on the ability of the human race to pursue the development of renewable energy. The one thing that can preserve agriculture, enhance sustainable industries like tourism, and give us a shot at sustainability. Where the renewables start making a difference is that once they're in place and up and running, they are using a resource that is perpetually renewable. It doesn't cost money once the investment has been done. So you get this type of graph, starting off on the left-hand side, 100%. That is your return on investment for energy, the costs of extracting energy. And in the 1900s, it was around about 100 to 1. It was over 100 to 1. The oil was easy to find. It was just underground. It was sitting in shallow aquifers in sandstone. As we move further towards 2013, you can see how that curve goes, but it gets to a cliff edge. It becomes almost a linear curve downwards. Those 2 graphs show the cost of discoveries in the United States from around about 1910 up until 2010. What we are heading towards with the fossil fuel industry is that eventually one is going to be literally spending a barrel of oil to extract a barrel of oil. So as the return of oil and gas continues to drop off, it makes it a sustainable society increasingly difficult. And that's what I'm driving at when I say we're getting to the point of no return. We must adjust to this new reality by using less and pushing renewables rather than expanding drilling efforts. This is a graph which is also available, and it will show you that wind power, the green wind power and thin film solar are moving towards a much higher return on energy invested than what you will find in the fossil fuel industry. This is from the University of Amherst in Massachusetts, and the winner with the least jobs created for money invested of 5 units of people is natural gas. When they talk about jobs and jobs and jobs and jobs and jobs from fracking, it's not necessarily something that is going to manifest itself in the lives of the poor people in this country. Last year, Peter Vosa, who was the global chief of Shell for a number of years, retired, and he was interviewed by Financial Times. And they asked him, what was your greatest regret as chairman of Shell Global? He says, getting involved in shale gas in the US. In the first year, the average shale gas wells across all of those averages are declining by 37%, and by the end of the 3rd year, 79%. There has to be a middle road. But at the moment, this government and the proponents of shale gas mining are not following the middle road. They're following the corporate road. And it's a disservice to the people of this country. So it suits big oil and gas to overstate the benefits. And to me, shale gas mining is like eating soup with a fork. You're very busy, but you stay hungry. One of the core promises of Shell in this country is that they won't compete with the farmers of the Karoo for water. Yet in New York State today, they are doing exactly that. The community stood up. There was a court case. A high court judge actually came to a ruling to say that it would stop the extraction, and Shell brought to bear their full marshal of lawyers, and they overturned the case. It illustrated to me very clearly that the company actually is quite prepared to compete with local communities for water. I would not be so hesitant to stand aside and let exploration go ahead. It cannot legally go ahead under the present circumstances. The laws are not at the moment in place to regulate it, and there's a big fat conversation that needs to happen about the issues that have been suppressed and not discussed. 3.5 to 4 months ago, we put a document directly into the hands of the President, plus every single MEC and every Premier of every province in this country. And it was a document called the Canadian Report. It was a 260-page document that took 2 years to produce, 12 independent scientists, peer-reviewed by 10 other scientists, and finally released under peer review by the University of British Columbia. We suggested to the government, respectfully, that that document should be a model in terms of moving forward with shale gas in this country. So the dialogue at the moment has been limited to what the Department of Minerals and 1 or 2 other small departments in South Africa want. Nobody from transport, environment, land affairs, agriculture, health has had a say on any of these issues. Our current exploration regulations are cut and paste from the American Petroleum Institute. That is a body in America that puts out a set of rules for governments to look at as to how they, as an industry body, would like to be controlled. And that is not a balanced set of regulations. South Africans then need to look up, stand up, and speak up for a renewable and sustainable future. And in closing, and I thank you for your attention, the world needs a global conversation on sustainability. A global conversation on sustainability today, not new ways of extracting fossil fuels. Thank you very much, and there is further reading and viewing here for you.